Does. All right. All, thank you so much for attending track week 3. Today we're going to talk about scripts and role play. I have to say this was probably one of my favorite weeks in the track program. It is so practicing scripts in doing role playing, finding a script buddy is really one of the best ways that you can hone your craft, if you will. So it gives you the ability to work with somebody to identify what situations, objection handling, and so that when you're in front of a client, you're going to be able to understand those objections and ask questions and overcome those objections because you've already had practice and you've already been able to do that. So this is really kind of one of my favorite weeks of track. And each week, as we're going through track, we have a weekly challenge. This weekly challenge is called Go for No. And the concept was inspired by the book called Go for No by Richard Fenton and Andrea Waltz. We often hear how success leaves clues, and so does failure. It's important to understand that failing and being a failure are two very different things. We must learn to celebrate our victories and also be okay with celebrating our failures, maybe not calling it a failure, but maybe just sometimes we just don't have a win. In knowing that it's a learning experience and it brings us a step closer to a yes. In real estate, many agents are allowing their short-term fear of hearing the word no paralyze them for doing the work that it takes to build the momentum in order to be successful. So here's your challenge. Your challenge for the week is to track your no's. How many no's did you hear before you got a yes? And did you really get a no? And I would say, and it's, if you think about the exercise, if you're doing, so say you're doing the 5 to 25, and you're maybe calling somebody that you haven't talked to in a while, are they really going to say, no, I don't want to talk to you, Julie Taylor? Or are they going to say, oh my goodness, Julie Taylor, it's so great to hear from you. It's been ages. What have you been up to? Et cetera, et cetera. That's a win. So this week, track your nose and just see what kind of responses you get. The end of the exercise, what it's going to do is you're going to realize that you don't get as many no's as you think you do. So that's the whole purpose of the exercise. I'm kind of giving you the answer to the challenge
Spoiler.
before we get into it. Okay, so scripts practice. We're gonna kind of we're gonna break scripts down into a couple different categories. Um, and really what the first part of this is practicing, is having a script buddy. And whether you do it over Zoom or you do it face to face, how you should kind of format the sessions is they should be very quick. Don't drag them out for an hour, just 15 minutes. And the day before your session, come up with your topic so that you know with that 15 minutes what your topic is going to be. Assign the roles. Somebody's going to be the client, somebody's going to be the agent, and then you turn around and you reverse it. I'm going to give you some suggestions. When you give feedback, and you always give feedback, don't say, oh, that was great. You did such a great job. Think of constructive feedback that you can give your partner. So the whole reason why you're going through the exercise, one, not only to kind of refine what you're going to say when you're in a client situation, but help your partner out, give them some constructive feedback, whether it's how they delivered the message, what they actually said, or just even give some suggestions on how to word things, things like that. Um, so make the session quick and make it as productive as possible. Um, Julie, I know that you do script and role play, but you do it with three people,
It's
right?
like actually five people now. Katie Holmes
Really?
has started the group through Locker Room,
Yeah,
and we have Katie, me, Devin, and then a couple, maybe six people, and from all over the country. So it's
that
kind of cool.
is that's that's
Yeah.
amazing.
And
That is
last time on Friday, we talked about like, we didn't do that. We just kind of talked about what our challenges were with like listing. And, one girl had just finished door knocking. So she told us about that experience. And so,
fantastic.
yeah.
Fantastic. I'll share a little story. I started doing script and role play with a broker through the locker room, and we're still doing it. I think we've been meeting twice a week for 2 years, maybe. And
Oh, wow.
we don't do script and role play anymore. It's more of exactly what you just said. We talk about things and what's going on in her business, things that are going on in our business and challenges that we're facing, things like that. But it's great to have those relationships in other parts of the country. It's
Yeah.
real estate is done the same everywhere. We all lead generate the same, we market the same. It's just state by state specifics where it comes to contracts, processes, and things like
Hmm.
that. So way to go. I'm super proud of you. That is awesome. I love to hear that. So the next section is core advocates. And it really kind of this section really talks about how you can build a script around building your advocate database, your core advocate database. So these would be people in your database who you would ask if they know of anybody that may be looking to buy or sell in the future. In the videos, Jake has a really great way, instead of saying, "Hey, friend, how are you? It's great to hear from you." Go through the niceties. Do you know of anybody that is looking to buy or sell? More than likely, the answer is going to be no. So the
Right.
suggestion that Jake makes, which I think is amazing, is, "Hey friend, how are you? Hey, listen, I just wanted to let you know that I am looking to help 25 families with their real estate goals this year. And so I'm calling all of my friends and my family to see if they know of anybody that they're connected to that maybe they've had a baby, or they have expanded their family, or maybe they are downsizing, um, things like that." So just asking that question, but asking it in a different way. So, which is essentially saying, do you know of anybody that's had a family change that would essentially cause them or have them make a real estate change, whether renting to buying, selling, upsizing, downsizing, things of that nature. So, and what it does, so whoever you're talking to, it gives them the ability to kind of think beyond a yes or no question. Like, oh, do you know of anybody looking to buy or sell? Well, no, not really. I don't know of anybody off the top of my head, but if I come across somebody, I will let you know. Putting it into the what's happening in life is, oh, I know somebody who just had a baby. I know somebody whose last child just went to college. They're probably going to be looking in downsizing. Those kind of relational kind of things, it triggers people's minds a little bit better. So that was a great tip. Okay, so the next section is your vendors. So going through this exercise, you always want to build your database, right? You want to, so I gave the homework a couple weeks ago to add 100 people to your database. So that is friends, family, people that cut your hair, that change the oil in your car. But it's also thinking about it from a real estate, building your real estate business is your vendor relationships. Julie, you met an insurance salesman and met a mortgage officer today.
Yeah,
Those are two people that you can put in your database today. And look, you didn't really have to work too hard at doing it.
yeah.
Oh, and that lady that does the
Staging or
yeah, and I don't know that I would even call her a stager, but just she's a consultant to help. I mean, honestly, I thought you could do
I
that.
can do that. Yeah, I
Um,
don't need her.
but but it is a person in your
Maybe she needs me. Like, yeah,
that is a great perspective,
yeah.
Julie. Maybe
So
she
right.
needs you.
Are
Absolutely.
they going to be reaching out to us? Because we didn't get all of their
Yes.
okay.
Yes. I do have, and honestly, it's probably just as easy and we can just email Julie, say, hey, what's their contact information? We want to reach out. So,
Right, Laura.
but
Yeah,
you went to a home tour and you got three vendors that you can put in your database. That's
yeah,
that's a home run.
yeah.
So the approach for working with vendors is to schedule a coffee or a tea or some sort of afternoon beverage, if you will, um, and talk about because you're both professionals and you're both growing your business. So, how can these vendor
Right,
partners, how can you work together to help each other grow your businesses? And so you get to know them, you get to understand what their business is, vice versa. They get to understand what your business is, and,
right.
kind of how can you work together? My relationship with Laura is a perfect example. Julie, I told you the story. I met Laura. I put a listing in Vistancia on tour, and I met her, and we've been connected ever since. And that's been
Yeah.
a year and a half ago. So it's you really just have to kind of put yourself out there in order to just meet people.
Hmm. I have a question
Okay.
on the court advocates part. So, who do you know who's, having a life change that maybe, what however you say that phrase, the sentence. But then what's the follow-up? So what are the next steps? So yeah, my aunt Susan, I think is her son's going to college. They may be moving. Like, so what now what? What do you say?
So then you would say, well, hey, would you mind making a connection with the two of us? So either an email connection, a text message connection with, so say you're meeting with a friend of yours and they say, oh, yeah, I know somebody who just had a baby. So would you
Hmm.
mind potentially connecting me with Susie and Bob, who just had a baby, and doing maybe like a three-way introduction? Most people are going to say absolutely yes. Just say, I'd love to introduce myself to them, whether they're looking to, their real estate goals now or in the future. I would just love to be a resource for them.
Okay, that's good. Okay.
was a, let me show, here we go. This memory jogger.
Yeah.
So in here, it's not only just like florist, jeweler, leasing agent, mailman, minister, pet groomer, etc. Um, but it does have, um, I was trying to find it, but um, here we go. Individuals who are looking for a part-time job, ambitious, enthusiastic, entrepreneurial, caring people, champions,
Hmm.
somebody who bought a new car, um, loves to learn new things, just had a baby, just graduated, just got married. So this memory jogger has a lot of examples where you can kind of tap into, where you can come up with a script that's a little bit more.
Based on who they are, like
Yes, yes,
children in college or yeah.
yeah. And I do know there are quite a few agents where they just target particular niches, right? So, for example,
Hmm.
the senior community. So there are agents that they just help people over a certain age.
Hmm.
And by doing that, you can ask questions. Hey, do you know of anybody who is retired? Do you know of anybody who is in the golfing community? Do you know of anybody that um, is a snowbird? Things like that. So it's just really kind of taking the used car salesman situation out of it and just making it a lot more personal,
Hmm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So your database, we talked about earlier the 5 to 25 challenge, right? So we were talking about how do you, sometimes it's really difficult to make those 5 calls a day. Um, I would even expand that to say it's text messages, it's phone calls, it's DM on social media, it's an email, things of that nature. Um, and, even you send out a monthly newsletter. If there's 5 people in your database that you're going to reach out to today, they're on your newsletter list. Take that, what you sent, reply back to them and just say, "Hey, Bob, I just wanted to check in. I hope you're getting my newsletters and you find them of value. I just wanted to check in and say hello. I haven't heard from you in a while. Are you still living in Kansas? How are things going? That kind of thing." So that kind of,
So
um,
just a personal, like
yes,
a,
just a personal touch. So with scripting and role playing coming, so you would have a different conversation with people in your database than you would have with vendor partners or core advocates. Your core advocates in your database are those people um, that would be referring you. Your database is kind of everybody else. So maybe it's somebody that you haven't talked to in a while, or you've just, kind of lost touch with, or maybe it's a former client that you haven't kept in touch with. So, I mean, I've done that before where it's like, oh my goodness, I just realized it has been 6 months since I have reached out to you. How are things going with the house? Do you need anything? Do you need any vendors?
yeah.
I have some vendors that I can, you know, just be a resource. Um, so, and sometimes it's just asking for an apology, right? I'm so sorry. we haven't kept in touch, but I was thinking about you, whatever it may be.
Hmm.
But um and that's really with the rest of your database kind of establishing that connection. So just keep up what you're doing. It's great that you've got a group of people that you're connecting with. That's put them in your database. Put them in your database,
Yeah.
send them a
Well,
newsletter.
Kate,
Absolutely.
yeah. Kate, um when we meet, Kate, oh, she's not can't hear
Kate,
me.
Kate. Anyway, we'll ask her later. Do you mind if I just keep
Yeah, it's
going
fine.
since we're recording?
No, please do.
Okay. So, objection handling. Objection handling is probably one of the hardest skills in real estate to master. And it's definitely one of those skills that you would want to keep refining and just like working your scripts,
Hmm.
handling objections. So there's really three parts of objection handling. It's acknowledging the objection, isolating the objection, and overcoming the objection. Um, Acknowledging the objection is if you're in a conversation with a client, you want to make sure that you hear what they're saying. And when they're uh, giving you their objection, when you hear them, you want to make sure that you repeat it back to them. Oh, I understand, Mr. Seller. Um, you don't want to drop from what I understand what you're saying is that for a price reduction right now, you want to drop the price $5,000. I'm just making that up as an example. So just repeating it back to them. Be sure to watch your body language. Don't or get mad or, kind of tense up your face. Just stay very neutral, just understanding what they're trying to say. I'm no judgment, judgment-free zone, and don't get defensive. So a lot of times when buyers or sellers or your clients are providing an objection, it's it's a negative, right? So, and sometimes as agents, we will take that personally because sometimes it's based on either something that we're not doing or something that we're doing, maybe not the way that the client thinks that we should be doing it. So we don't want to be defensive. We just want to listen to what they have to say, repeat it back to them so that they know that you understand what their concern is. The next step is to isolate the objection. Don't go straight to fix it mode, right? So they're giving you an objection. You don't want to come in and say, all right, I'm going to fix the issue. One, you need to understand what the objection is, but also what the background behind why are they providing the objection? What is the background to it? Example is a client asks you to lower your commission. Why, Mr. Seller, would you like for me to lower my commission? What's the basis behind that? And just having a dialogue and understanding, does he really want you to lower your commission? Or are there other expenses that he's looking to bring down? Or is he just trying to nickel and dime everything or want you to put, some skin in the game?
Hmm.
There's all kinds of people out there, but just isolating what that objection is And when you do that, then you go into the next step is to be able to overcome it. What is the perspective of the objection? Is is there more to it? Is there a deeper a are they just asking you something just to ask you something, or is there a real reasoning behind it? And how you overcome that is it depends on what the situation is. So the commission example. And in the video, um, the example was if a client asks you to reduce your commission, your response or your how you're handling the objection is no, I'm not lowering my commission. But if you ask questions to kind of understand why they're asking you to lower your commission, then you can kind of peel the onion back a little bit further and is that really what the issue is, or is there an underlying issue that you can resolve? Then you go into fix it mode once you really understand kind of what the root of the issue is. The top 5 objection handlers. And I'm just gonna kind of go through these pretty quickly. Um, Looking for an agent that has more experience, asking you to reduce your commission. Oh, agent B over here said he would do it for a lower commission. Buyer wants to make a low offer. The client says, I don't want to sign anything. I don't want to do any paperwork. And the 5th one is, we need to sleep on it. So in the script book here, get it off the blur, handles, addresses all of those top 5 objections. So, and I just kind of want to go over a few of these. We want someone with more experience. So here's some scripts. I certainly understand that my tenure as a realtor, or lack thereof, may cause for hesitation. I oftentimes ask myself, why would I hire me? When I do, there are 3 reasons that immediately come to mind. May I share? Like, okay, well, let's have a conversation. I'm very motivated as evidence in what I've done to earn the opportunity to sit and meet with you today. Think about all of the experienced agents out there that have never reached out to you. I am current and relevant. I've never done business the way that it's always been done, and only know that the most effective and efficient methods for marketing, negotiating, and selling your property in today's environment. I have support. Not only am I supported by my broker and other agents in my office, I also personally work with a real estate coach that I leverage for support in unfamiliar situations. We all should recognize what we don't know. I've simply taken steps to guarantee I have access to all the information, resources, and support I need. I certainly appreciate that. May I ask, what about having a great deal of experience is important to you? Outside of experience, is that your only concern when hiring me as your realtor?
That's
So
good.
this is a very common question, particularly for agents that are newer. So, and what agents' immediate response is, oh no, what am I going to say? What am I going to do? I don't have experience. So, one, you go with the support, broker support, agent support, adding that you're in a coaching program, um, and that you're going to look at things from a different lens, right? All the agents that are out there, they've been doing it, they do it a regular way. How can you stand out and how can you be different? Um, And a lot of times people will appreciate that fresh perspective. So, the scripts book, it's in the Locker Room University. It's a great resource for one, putting together scripts, and one, just kind of creating what your dialogue is and how do you communicate? How do you speak with clients? Sometimes it may not be in this fashion, but you can take what's in this booklet and write it to your own kind of writing style.
Mhm.
So next week, we're going to talk about social media, and it's going to be super fun. I promise you it's going to be super fun. So we look forward to next week. Does anybody have any questions about script and role play?
No, I just think practicing, like you said, just Katie Holmes has the game that, the cards.
The card game?
So she'll just pull the game, she'll pull cards, and that's how we get our topics.
That's awesome. I'm so glad that you guys are doing that. You've connected with people in the locker room. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Until next week.